Bang! What is going on? It's ShanGO right here. And have a brief video. First of all, let me just say this, man. I want to thank each and every person who is, who reached out, who's claiming their alpha goddess oil and stuff like that. It's more than any oil, or whether it's a mojo bag, whether it's the muerte, it's the support and just I can't express enough gratitude to you personally. Okay, feel my vibe, get the truth, get the transmission, because it's real. Okay. On another level, the fact what you're demonstrating by doing so, to me anyway, and whether it's here or elsewhere, however you are, walking your path, doing your thing, the fact that you are willing to step out your comfort zone or step out of what you may have known, even if it's just a little pinky toe, you know, you got to understand, like, and I'm sure you do on some level, that you're in an elite club because so many people do not do it. We all know so many people who live the same day over and over again, you know, and that actually kind of brings me to my first point, you know, as far as it concerns with the oil. I'm going to tell you exactly how to use this oil in just a second, but I wanted to kind of touch on why it works and why it can work for you and what you can expect, okay? Because I'm not in the business of trying to be like a snake oil salesman or anything like that, and trying to promote um, unrealistic expectations and stuff like that is not in my particular forte, you know. So, but what I was shown also by Spirit is one of our greatest fears, and I know I'm speaking to a lot of people, in whatever form it may take for you individually and personally, and in whatever area of your life or your life experience personally, and that's different for everybody, but it's there's like this subconscious fear that basically it's like one of our greatest subconscious fears, in my opinion, that I've noticed, and just from talking to people, is that tomorrow is going to be just like yesterday. What that actually says to ourselves, if we have some type of belief like that, is that we don't have the ability to do something different. Or maybe we, on an intellectual level, think, yes, I have the ability, but we're just not going to do it. Like the car or the airplane's on autopilot, and it's just going to go where it's going to go. And that can lead, and it's not our fault, because there's been so much indoctrination and so much programming pounded on us concerning learned helplessness. If you listen to the media, if you listen to all kinds of different shit, there's a sub communication that you're helpless to help yourself, and that you must rely on something else, whether that's the government, the president, some form of religion, something outside of yourself. And the other side of that coin is, keep the people in fear, keep them dumbed down, keep them distracted on how they're going to pay their bills. And, we'll put out prophecies of how the economy is going to take a shit in two weeks or something like that, or just whatever. I don't want to get too much off into that. But all of this has culminated, and as a collective consciousness, I'll say, many of us have experienced this ugly little toad of a belief, okay? So, bringing us back to the alpha goddess oil, as far as how this relates to you, okay, and why it works, okay. Most of us are on, even if you're an alpha, there's times and there's different times of the day where we just go into robot. When I say robot, that's a synonym of our normal, what we consider to be normal, what we consider for our lives, as far as this is the normal part of this is my normal life, Okay. The reason I call it robot is because most of the decisions, the choices, and even the feelings, and even your own personal energetic vibrational frequency signature is automated. Okay. Um, and when you're in automation, automation is all about repetition and just doing the same shit, you know. And everybody has an area of their life where it almost feels like you can't do nothing about it, or you don't believe that you actually will, even though you know you can, but you just don't believe you will. And a lot of this also relates back to your energy and your personal frequency. So imagine like the electronics, like recording software, you could see the waves, right? So let's say there's a scale, okay? And this scale's from 1 to 10. 10 being you feel like $1 billion. You feel all powerful. You feel like everything just has to go your way. You're in your flow. Magnus Supreme, okay? 1 being your energy and your frequency is so low, so sporadic, so shoddy, so weak that you feel like you can't even get out of bed. It feels heavy. It feels crushing. It feels maybe even full of despair. Okay, that's an extreme. Okay, so we have the two extremes over here. Then let's say in the middle we have a 5. Okay, so let's say 5 is your normal. Okay, 5 is your normal day. Maybe nothing too great, but nothing too bad either. Just the average. Your normal. Maybe it's also your normal state that you're in most of the day. Of course, throughout the day you may go higher for a second, but then you'll come back to that. Or you might go lower, but then you come back up eventually. Okay, so let's just say 5. Okay, now from this 5, a lot of your actions and stuff are going to be more just on the automated tip. Okay, but imagine if you just had point 0.5, a 0.5 bit of more energy, or a 0.5 increase in that frequency rate. Okay, from just that small, minuscule, microscopic change, what if you would maybe say yes? Because some of you, when you get, when you're in that 5, and especially if your physical body energy, starts kind of maybe tapering down a little bit, you might be more susceptible to just saying yeah, because you don't want to argue. Yeah, 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 yes, yes, yes. Or you might get a little bit more pessimistic and be just saying no to everything, to whereas now you might be saying no to certain opportunities or chances or avenues or just something. Because the greatest, biggest things always come from the smallest things. Everything. You and I once started as a goddamn sperm and an egg that you need a microscope to see. As far as these bodies go, the biggest fucking thing, a whale started off that way. A big ass fucking whale, elephant pussy started off microscopic, minuscule. Okay? So back to the point. Imagine you could just get that point 0.5 of a boost. I'm not talking all the way to a 10. I'm not talking a 9. I'm not talking an 8. I'm talking just a point 0.5. To whereas maybe that's just enough in your personal frequency in whatever moment you find yourself where you can say yes to where you'd say no. Or maybe you'd say no to something that would be draining of your time, energy, and resources, to whereas normally you would cave in and say yes. And this time you stand up and say, nah, I'm good. Because what you saved is almost like what you earned. Getting that back, it's almost like getting something new, you know? So my point is why it works is it works, as we've discussed in a previous video, on an electromagnetic, on your electromagnetic field, okay? That's what we're doing. That's the point of a lot of these different things, okay? Is to assist and work with you, okay? It's like having added additional help. It's like having added additional resources and backup, So You got to remember, what if you had this just a point 0.5 boost or bump in your energy, or just even in your average everyday typical frequency rate, okay? And you were able to just make these microscopic changes, just maybe 2 or 3 of them a day. Can you imagine what that would look like just even over the course of a week? Because you know what? There's an old Yardie term, a Jamaican term, a mickle make a mackle. You know, a little can make a lot. Conversely, a mackle make a mickle. So like sometimes the more you put in, it just makes the less. Okay, but we're talking about how just a slight change. You know, that's what you want to go for, is the little slight microscopic changes that you can do. You know, you can do. And sometimes you just need a microscopic bit of assistance. Okay. Now, yes, I wanted to address one thing too, because I got to ask the question about this oil, about charging it in sunlight. Okay. I would have to tell you, no, you cannot charge this in sunlight, only because certain essential oils and certain herbs in here, they're not going to be too cool with the actual sunlight. Okay. Now you can charge the shit out of this with some lunar or some moonlight. Okay, if that's what you wanted to do. All right, but it's the microscopic changes that will make the biggest changes for you. You know, for all of us. That's just how it goes. You don't start off something just huge. Like everything starts off very small, subtle, most of the time. Okay, so we're dealing with certain primordial forces. Yes, this was charged with 3 particular branches of almost kind of the same energy, if you will, some of that primordial dark goddess energy, you know, the catalyst of change, the catalyst of self-transformation and self-empowerment, self-reliance, okay, and amongst other things. And yes, that's very attractive. It's very magnetic. It definitely is, okay? But these forces are alive and well within you. They may be dormant. You may not have communed or reactivated or remembered. That's what remember means, is actually like reattaching. So if, like, God forbid, somebody lost their arm and it got remembered, they're putting the arm back on. You know what I'm saying? So that's pretty much how you want to think of things, you know, because that's the truth, you know. So it's within and it's without. Okay? So it's not about getting something outside of yourself, okay? It's about integrating things that are in alignment with what's already in you. If it's in you, it's in you. Prego, right? No, is that Prego? Yeah, Prego, the old sauce. Never mind. I'm going too far back for some of y'all. Anyways, so, and let me tell you something. I just want to, time for mad graphics real quick. Don't worry, I'm going to get to the how-to so quick that it's easy, okay? So let's just say, right now, this is you. This is how you see yourself, okay? This is everything you think you know about yourself, what you can do, what you won't do, you know, how you also would like to see yourself portrayed, or how you want others to see you, all that stuff. That's right here. What you think you know about yourself, all that good stuff, okay? That's you. See the mad graphics? We spare no expense here, people, okay? It just happens. The second zone, as I sees it, which is one of the most interesting zones, is the zone of almost. Okay? The zone of almost. Hold on, I got shit falling out here. It's the zone of almost. Okay, and I'm going to get to why I feel like this is the most interesting one. Okay? Then there's the zone of fuck no. This is just what you feel is just totally out of your reach. It's just not possible. Or I'm just not that. Whatever that is. Like, it's just no. Matter of fact, these things are just not even close to your frequency, to where you don't even think about these things on here. These are just no way Jose's. Okay? Like, for example, me being a lawyer. Okay? me being a lawyer is in the zone. I have no desire. I have no interest. I have absolutely none of that because it just does not apply to me. Okay. And for you, you have your own. So just certain things like that, or whatever it is. Okay. So we already covered that. Now, what's interesting about the land of almost is this incorporates a lot of the experiences and things that you really do want. But the problem is, or the challenge is, you've had experiences where things have come in and they were almost what you wanted, or it almost went the way you wanted. Case in point, relationships. Maybe you had a series of almost lovers. I like them, but almost. But then there's the other side of that coin, okay? Maybe you had somebody and you were feeling so good for a week or two, it started to scare you because there's that other little creepy booger of a subconscious belief that says, man, we're feeling too good here. That means something bad is about to happen. So, for some way, some form, some fashion, you done sabotaged it. Okay? Now, as we spoke about in the Are You an Alpha Goddess video, one of the main characteristics, in my opinion, just my opinion, of an alpha goddess is she's able to look at herself objectively and honestly. That's the key word, honestly. Because if we're honest and we look back at some of these almost situations where either it was almost what we wanted or it was what we wanted, but we ended up losing it, that's what makes it almost, we will realize that we if we're honest, we'd be like, a lot of them is not on the other person. A lot of them we'd be like, yeah, I kind of fucked that up. Because it's true. It's true. You know, that's because there's other things that we have not dealt with yet. And maybe some of these almost things that we really do want, for some reason, ain't matching up with how we see ourselves here. And so we get a little bit, but then we lose it. Okay? So the point of this oil is about making even just small, microscopic, incremental changes. And even just the way that you see yourself, even just the way that you feel about yourself. You know, if you can just, like I said, if you just had that 0.5 gram of energy or 0.5 change in the actual frequency that you may be emanating for the most part throughout your day, maybe you'd be more likely to say yes to that date, which may lead to God knows what, some great things. Maybe you would be able to make that call. You know, another one, big one here that I see for a lot of people too, is almost like, I almost lost that weight. I almost had the ideal body, or I did have my ideal body for a short time, and then something happened, knocked me off my square. I went back into robot, started emotionally eating, or whatever it was, or somehow I sabotaged it. Maybe I subconsciously made myself injure myself so I can't work out or anything like that. And then because I can't work out, I just said, fuck it, I'm gonna eat what I want because I'm feeling like shit. I'm feeling this anxiety, whatever it is. Almost, the land of almost, okay? So the way that you use it, first of all, some people are just gonna use this as a cosmetic because it smells so good. So maybe you want your ass ate out just a little bit better. That's fine. Oh, goddamn. Okay, so a cosmetic way to use it, you just hit your pulse points, right? That's it. Okay. Now, there's some of you now who want to use this as more of a magical apparatus. Okay. I recently, a young woman actually recently, she shared some things with me about how she uses it. Okay. And I was kind of like, oh, that's interesting, because I never said anything, but that's just her doing her own thing. So now, the second way to use it, if you're going to use it as a magical apparatus, number one, I want you to understand it's only limited by your own imagination. Okay, this is going to do what you want it to, how you use it. Okay, so I'm just going to give you an example of how she particularly used it. For one, she wanted to actually sleep with her bottle for 7 days because she wants to bond with the energies in that, and she also wants to program further so it's more customized to what she wants it for. So when I asked her what she wants it for, basically she, in a nutshell, she didn't say this specifically, but I seen what it was. She's actually using it as a glamoury spell in a bottle. So what she said was she wants to be perceived in her professional life in a certain way. So she would imagine herself or she would imagine herself as though someone, like, what do I look like through somebody else's eyes, you know? And then maybe she came out with, like, I think 3 or 4 things, and just as a matter of intention, every time I put this on, it's like I'm putting on these qualities. These qualities are especially shining through. This is what they see. And she infused it with a brief meditation, or not even a meditation, just a quick visualization. But she was very specific as to what this means for her when she puts it on. Okay? In much the same way, it's going to work like that for you, when you get this now. So when you get these concepts now, anything can be made into a magical apparatus. That's the difference between a regular object and a magical object. The magic is not so much inside the object as it is in you. And that's what, this is all about as well. So I would strongly suggest, just on a more basic level too, I would anoint the bottoms of my feet, your sacral chakra area, which is like your belly button. If you're using this for magic purposes, for, particular, this is just one way. But of course, if you're intuitively led to do something, do it. It's that simple, okay? But anoint your navel sacral area, and definitely get that the solar chakra area, because this really corresponds a lot to your own, like I said, being able to choose who you want to be. That requires will. In my opinion, will, if I can define will for you, and most people don't have a will, is just a set of focused, or a focused intention, or a set of focused intentions over time. Okay? So for example, if my will was to, reach a certain body weight, or I want my body to look like this in 3 or 4 months, that's my will. Okay, if I'm next year, for this whole year, I'm focusing on getting my degree, or my master's, or whatever, that's your will. If your will is, within the next 6 months, I want to be up, I want to be promoted to upper management, I want this, I want to have my business started full-fledged, blah, 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 and you're absolutely focused on that, that is your will. So the will definitely corresponds with that solar chakra too. So I would definitely, you want to put a little bit on that solar chakra right under your tatas, okay? You want to put it there, okay? Now, I would, like I said, bottom of the feet, navel, solar chakra. Um, this is just me, I always anoint my Ori, or the Azil chakra, the hidden chakra in the back of the head. I always put a little just dot here on the third eye, and definitely get my crown. So I have certain points that I would personally do, or I would suggest. But however, the more creativity and more imagination you can put into this, the greater the effects that you're going to see. Now, don't be surprised, because when you pay attention, when you use it, when you get this now, and you use this, and you start paying attention, what you're going to notice more than likely are smaller synchronicities that are lining up with why you put this on your ass in the first place. Okay? Now, true indeed, some of you may have some bigger synchronicities up front and faster. Okay? That's cool too. But I'm just saying, as a general rule, especially dealing with magic, yeah, sometimes you got those big, big things that just pop off immediately. But I'm just saying, there's no need to be dismayed or any of that. Like, so scratch all that. If that's not what you experience firsthand, because sometimes, the tortoise wins the race. This is a marathon. This is a marathon. This is a part of your marathon. This can be a part of your marathon now, okay? It's not about a sprint. It's not about popping off in 2 minutes, This is more long haul. And of course, this deals, like I said, with self-transformation. Part of self-transformation is determining and choosing for yourself who you want to be right now. Okay? So Uh, More than likely, you're also going to know that it may take a little bit of time as you go through it. But you know what? When you start getting these little microscopic victories, is like I like to call them, the fact that you made that call, the fact that you said yes or that you said no to something that you would not normally, you know, that goes to show yourself and your subconscious mind that I am changing. You know, this person that I want to be, I'm already becoming that right here, right now, you know, and I'm showing and proving, you know. So you got to consider that too. All right. So that's just a brief way on actually how you use it. Of course, you can also use this to anoint. Let's say you're doing some type of candle work. You can, of course, put this on some candles. If you've got some type of a, mojo going on here, you know, you can anoint your mojo. If you got a talisman, if you got, you name it, you name it, whatever it is, put a little bit. Let's say you're doing a spiritual bath, that aligns with something. You know, maybe it's, you know, professional upward mobility or success or whatever that means for you. You know, but I always bring it back to the key is always give some consideration as to who you need to be to fully experience those things and to keep this, keep it. You know, we don't want to be in the land of almost anymore, because sometimes that can kind of fuck us up, and then we start thinking like, oh yeah, I was right, it's not possible for me. Cancel, clear that shit. Okay, we're not going to talk like that, and we're not going to think like that. All right, Papa Shangito ain't gonna let you do that. Okay. All right. So anyhow, that's how you use it. Use your imagination. Have fun. Rock out with your socks out. Okay, with your twat out. Rock out with your twat out. Okay, and that's how you use it. And like I said, it just you start building momentum. Imagine if you just did 2 or 3 small things differently a day, just micro fucking scopic. By the end of that week, now you're kind of working with some. Now you got some. There's some momentum. Okay, there's some momentum. We need to totally scratch out that belief that change needs to be some big, huge, abrupt thing, because it doesn't have to be that way. You're going to get there. You know what I'm saying? Don't be afraid to take your time either, and to explore yourself along the way. That's what it's all about. So this is ShanGO Way. Peace and blessings to you. I love you, and once again, thank you for everybody who's claimed their Alpha Goddess oil. And if you're on the fence, you know, that's fine. But to those who are about it and don't want to be without it, go ahead and claim your Alpha Goddess oil now. And like I said, it comes with a picture of these 3 goddesses. So if you want to make like a little tiny makeshift altar, or even if this picture kind of incites, some of that, you know, because people will write down, "You are gorgeous, I am powerful," in words and put these things, and that's great. But a picture's worth a million words. You know, symbology is the way that your subconscious speaks to you, and that you can speak to it. So that also can help to remind you of who you are, who you're becoming now, and that you're good. You know what I'm saying? So that's it for now. We'll be back tomorrow. We're going to have some fun. We're going to do a live. We're going to be giving away some trial sizes of this oil because it's so good that I got to give some out. You know what I mean? So be on the lookout for that. We're going to try and do this earlier in the afternoon because I know there's time differences and stuff like that. But peace and blessings to everybody. I love each and every one of you who subscribe, who support, who just tune in to hear me babble on sometimes, that means something to me.